Hello everyone, this is College Gamer Girl back for some more exciting adventures in the world of Elder Scrolls Online. And today I decided to start recording inside the harborage so we wouldn't have to sit through like 2 or 3 loading screens while I tried to get in without being spawned on the floor. That being said, let us now head down the cave to meet with the prophet.
Darn. Size my friend. Probably the best friend I have. If the vestige is going, I'm going too.
Yes, I see. And you are the most qualified. Why? Is it your superior knowledge of Cold Harbor? Your expertise in dealing with Daedric entities? Or is it simply the unrequited puppy love you feel for that shirtless mammoth?
Well, yes, the prophet has called me here telling me that, it's time to rescue Saisahan, and, well, now that happened. But hey, look who's back! Cadwell has returned to us! Speak to me, Cadwell!
This cave is quite lovely, but have you seen the nightmarish landscape outside? How do you people keep your sanity? I believe I'll just remain indoors. Do let me know if I'm needed for anything heroic, won't you?
Aw, you don't like the world outside? Well, I don't blame you. It's kind of weird. There's a lot of big, fat thorns in this area, and a lot of people inducing nightmares in the next area, and a lot of people... Oh, what were they doing in the next... There's a lot of vampires in the area after that. It's just, zombies in the area after that. It's just crazy. I don't blame you. Alright, have fun, Cadwell. I will let you know if I need you to be someone's hero. Alright, what's going on here, people?
I'm glad you're here. I'm about to punch Tharn in the teeth again, and I didn't want you to miss it.
Oh, sure. That sounds like loads of fun. I would love to see it happen. Tharn, you are so short. Well, you're probably taller than I am, though. Oh, slightly. Slightly. You're actually not that much taller than I am. Yeah, you are pretty short.
I swear I haven't heard such bickering and whining since the last farm family gathering at mid-year's feast.
That sounds like a lovely occasion. Invite me to it sometime. Ah, Varen Aquilarius.
The time has come for another foray into Oblivion vestige. We have one last ally in need of rescue.
Saisahan.
Indeed, Abnur and I have been meditating, scrying, and poring over Manimarco's notes. And at long last we've discovered the location of the Halls of Torment.
Huzzah! Remind me again, exactly how long has he been there?
Our friend has suffered unimaginable and unending torment for nearly 2 years. Far longer than any mortal man should endure.
Oh my.
But Saisahan is something more than mortal man. He's a descendant of Leki, the Yokudan sword saint. I've seen it.
Okay, look, this is Leki, not Loki. Good to know, because Loki is, just crazy. Plus, he's the brother of Thor, and that just brings us into an entirely even weirder area of, yeah, that would just be weird. We must find him in quickly.
We have been able to determine the precise area of the halls where Sai is being held.
Yay!
This is why we were so long about the task.
Alright then.
I shall open a portal for you.
And am I going alone?
Lyris and Abnur have both agreed to accompany you, but I fear their mutual enmity will complicate your task. Speak with them and hear what they offer, but you must choose one or the other.
Well, gee, I wonder who I'm going to take with me. I'm going to take the jerk whose family is going to overthrow the Empire in several hundred years. Let me see. Are these all Yeah, okay, cool. Let's read these. These sound like fun. Before we go off and figure out who we're going to take with us. Alright. Chronicles of the Five Companions. 1. My name is Lyris of Skyrim, called Titanborn by some. I'm committing these words to paper on behalf of my friend and ally, a man history will remember only as the Prophet. It was through his profound insight and his study of the Elder Scrolls that we came to understand the dire nature of the threat that now endangers all of Tamriel. Let it be known by those who read these words that the Soul Burst, the event that took place at the 579th year of the Second Era, was due to the treachery of a single elf, the Altmeri necromancer Mannimarco, the king of worms, and the servant of the most vile of all Daedric princes, the god of schemes and lord of brutality, Molag Bal. In years past, Mannimarco served as chief advisor to the court of Emperor Varan Aquilarius. Originally a Duke of Coral, Varan became the Emperor of Tamriel by right of conquest. With Mannimarco's counsel, Varan led a revolt against the previous dynasty, the savage regime of Reachmen known as the Longhouse Emperors. Yet, despite his conquest and victory, Varan was not to be a true emperor. Like the former Emperor Leovic, the blood of the dragon did not flow through his veins, Varan's veins. He was unable to light the dragon fires in the Temple of the One, as a true emperor must by tradition. The dragon fires have remained unlit for generations. This is because the Amulet of Kings, a relic of the divines gifted unto Saint Alessia by Akatosh, was lost in the centuries following the fall of the Raymond dynasty. Only this relic, traditionally worn by imperial emperors of the First Era, would allow a true-blooded emperor, or true-blooded ruler, to spark the dragon fires anew. Blue spots, that's interesting. At Mannimarco's urging, Varan formed a group of companions to join him in an epic quest to locate this relic. These companions included myself, a Red Guard swordmaster named Saisahan, Grand Chancellor Abnur Tharn, and Mannimarco himself. For years we scoured the face of Tamriel, following countless leads, until we finally managed to locate it. When we returned to the Imperial City, Mannimarco played upon Varan's insecurities and convinced him that the coronation ritual, properly modified, could not only light the dragon fires, but persuade Akatosh to invest him with the divine agency and gift him with the blood of the dragon. It was only after the coronation ritual was attempted that we learned the extent of Mannimarco's deception. The King of Worms used his magic to corrupt the power of the amulet, causing the calamity which came to be known as the Soul Burst. I remember very little of the actual event, only that the chaos that followed was immediate and devastating. Varan was consumed by the fiery wrath of the Soul Burst. Saisahan and I were unjustly implicated in his death, made all the more suspicious because Sai fled as soon as he recovered, taking the Amulet of Kings with him. Grand Chancellor Tharn was an opportunist and immediately cast his lot with Mannimarco. The prophet's story is one of mystery. He appeared one day on the steps of an abbey of the Moth Priests in Cyrodiil. They took him in and fed him, thinking he was nothing more than a vagabond. They were shocked when they found him in the libraries that night, poring over the eldritch etchings of an Elder Scroll. Only the Moth Priests themselves had the ability to read the scrolls, and they saw his arrival as a prophetic sign from the divines. As they do all who read them, the Elder Scrolls eventually took the prophet's eyesight, leaving him permanently blinded. And yet he continued to study them in his mind's eye, and eventually foresaw the great and terrible threat that we are now faced with. Words of his prophecies spread far and wide, eventually reaching the imperial city in the years of Mannimarco. The King of Worms immediately arrested the prophet for rumor-mongering and treason, and had the abbey and all of its contents burned to the ground. The catastrophe that the prophet predicted began to take shape almost immediately. Vast swaths of the empire were consumed by Daedric fire, and the first dark anchors fell upon the land. Molag Bal's invasion of our world had begun, made possible by Mannimarco's betrayal. I should have been reading these all along. Alright, I didn't even notice them until now. Let's read Part 2. Chronicles of the Five Companions 2. Once again, I, Lyris of Skyrim, commit words to paper on behalf of the prophet. In truth, he didn't ask me to write this entry, but I feel the need to keep a record of these events, whatever their outcome may be. The prophet's visions and nightmares are getting worse. He continues to witness horrifying visions of a future in which Molag Bal rules our world. These don't seem to have a profound effect on him when he is awake, but at night, in those precious few hours where he manages to drift off, the visions become increasingly disturbing. He refuses to describe them to me in great detail, but he awakens violently, in a cold sweat, and it is obvious that they are wearing away on his sanity. Our ally, Marola Eponine, has already proven extremely capable. The escape from the whaling prison was only the beginning. The vestige risked everything to rescue me from the foundry of woe. I owe our new friend my life, my soul, and perhaps my very sanity. We are now chasing every available lead in our attempts to find Sai Sahan and the Amulet of Kings. If we can regain the amulet, the Prophet believes that we might be able to challenge Molag Bal and save our world. As usual, he used a bunch of flowery words and obscure phrases I didn't understand, but his general meaning was clear. Sometimes I wish I had never left Skyrim and gone to Cyrodiil. I fought for a great man that I believed in, met another that I came to cherish dearly, and had my share of blood and glory. But was it all worth it? Cyrodiil will always be the place where I first laid my eyes on that traitor skeever Manamarco and his sniveling toady Abnur Tharn. I don't know which is worse, Manamarco's charm and eloquence as he prepared to backstab us, or Tharn's endless insults and irritating condescension. At least with Tharn we always knew where we stood. The Prophet said that Tharn's part in this isn't finished. I can't imagine any good coming of that. After all, that sniveling son of a goat went right back to licking Manamarco's boot after the soul burst. He'd do anything to save his own hide and preserve his family's status in the Imperial City. I must bring this entry to a close. I hear the Prophet stirring. And part 3. Chronicles of the Five Companions 3. Well, there it is. Tharn's back with us, and I don't like it one bit. Marola Epona and I managed to get into Manamarco's castle with a little help from our soul-shriven friend Sir Cadwell. Cadwell's like a wisp, a little light in the upper marsh, if you get my meaning. But he can be damn useful at times, and he shows up at the damnedest places. Yeah, I will learn how to read eventually. While we risked our necks fighting through the worm cultists and flesh atronachs, Tharn projected his smirking image to different parts of the castle, goading us on. We eventually got to the tower where he was being held, but Manamarco was ready for us, and raised all manner of undead to challenge us. In the end we defeated them and escaped with Tharn. But here's the topper. Tharn lied to us. He has no idea where Sai is being held, or where the Amulet of Kings is hidden. Of course he claims he can help us find both, but when he admitted his lie, I lost my temper and laid him on the floor in a good single punch. Gods, it felt good. That was a long time coming. That's when Tharn spilled the beans. He told Marola Epona that we had been lying, and revealed the Prophet's true identity. Lord Varen immediately admitted to everything, of course. I hope it wasn't too soon. It's vital that we maintain Marola's trust, and now I can see the doubt behind the Vestige's eyes. Tharn is such a lying skeever. All he cares about is his empire and his family's status. Lord Varen believes Tharn's here for a reason, but I don't trust him and I never will. I plan to keep a close eye on him. And part 4. I get to read from Abner's perspective now. Part 4. I am Grand Chancellor Abnur Tharn, Overlord of Nibene, the head of the Elder Counselor, advisor to emperors and kings for 117 of the 164 years that I have been— What?! Dude! You are old! Oh my gosh! That I've been alive! Wow, I was not expecting that. I did not come to buy my position through influence or through influence of luck or nepotism, but rather through extreme discipline, ambition, and cunning. And yet, here I am, conspiring with idiots and fools in a musty hole in the ground. How the mighty have fallen. The year is Second Era 582, but I am unsure of the precise date. I've lost track, given the gravity of the monumental task that is before us. After reading the previous entries in this chronicle, I felt it necessary to offer my side of the story, so that I am not misrepresented by future historians. Freaking Tharn. Ugh. We Tharns have held positions of power throughout Cyrodiil since the days of the Potentate. We are prized for our loyalty to the Empire, our deft political machinations, and our ruthless subjugation or elimination of dissenters within Imperial territories. What we do is grim work, but it is necessary if the Empire is to endure. Do I sound boastful and egotistical? Perhaps I am. But I shall put these words up to paper so that you, the reader, might understand my views and my actions and their place in the long view of history. For nearly 30 years I advised the savage men of the Reach, from Durkarak to Leovic, as their long brutish dynasty ravaged the empire. They lasted longer than many of the would-be conquerors that came before them, but their alien nature and low heritage made them unfit to stand the presence of the true-blooded sons of Calovia or Nibene. Their most grave insult came when Leovic, youngest of their line, sought the hand of my 16th daughter, Clivica, in marriage, so that she might rule with him as empress. Like his grandfather before him, who married Varaxia Tharn, Leovic hoped that our family's connection and pure Nibenese blood would somehow legitimize his claim to the Ruby Throne. It was an exercise in futility, and it exasperated me to no end. So, when Baron Lyris, son of a Colovian duke and a powerful military leader in his own right, contacted me in secret and sought my assistance to depose those foul strangers from the north, I eagerly agreed. The war was long and bloody, but armed with my knowledge of the imperial city, Baron eventually led his army of rebels to the Palace of Gates. Baron drove his sword into Leovic's black-blooded heart and watched him die, choking on his own lifeblood, at the foot of the Ruby Throne, and immediately declared himself to be emperor. For my loyalty and assistance, he agreed to take my daughter Clivica as his bride. Freaking political people always using their daughters as trade. Anyway, after Varen's betrayal at Manamarco's hand, it pained me to hand the reins of the empire over to another outlander. But the King of Worms is a dangerous enemy. To ensure the dominance of necromancy over all other forms of magic, Manamarco immediately cast the Mages Guild out of the imperial city, then had all the remaining dissenters arrested as enemies of the state. I did not wish for my name to appear on that very long list, which only grew shorter when the executions began, so I pledged my loyalty. In return, I was granted stewardship of the imperial city. My daughter Clivica, still Empress Regent, became the titular ruler of the empire. But Manamarco remained in power behind the throne. Of course, Manamarco turned on me the moment my usefulness was expended. I was marginalized and cloistered away in a tower of bones, and my daughter was turned against me, lured by Manamarco's promise to teach her the dark arts that would give her mastery over life and death. But know this, dear reader. I will take the empire back. I will restore order out of chaos. That is my only ambition, and my ultimate desire. I will strike down any who stand in my way with all the fires of Daedric's sorcery I command, and those who dare thwart me shall be damned to the pits of oblivion for all eternity. Well, that was a thing. Alright then. Now I get to pick, huh? What do you have to say for yourself, short old man? Speak to me. I said speak to me. Well...
You look perplexed.
There we go.
What inscrutable riddles is Varen spouting now?
Oh, he said only one of you can join me on this little journey. Just ridiculous lag. No lag. Go away. Come on. I'm trying to reply to you. It's not going so well. Come on.
Gee.
There we go.
What surprisingly good advice. Titanborn and I are more likely to kill each other than we are to help. The choice is yours. But I recommend choosing brains over brawn.
Well, now it actually responded when I hit what? Aww. Snap. Alright. I wonder if I lost internet connection. Hold on a moment.